Imagine you can create anything you want with no limitations and nothing holding you back. What story would you tell? Let's begin. It all started in Haines, Alaska. In 2020, a huge landslide occurred through Beach Road, destroying many houses, killing 2 people, and leaving a community in shambles. Now, how would you help? We followed a process. It was empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. This process allowed us to build a solution for this community. First, we learned to empathize. This meant talking to everyone from all different angles regarding the event of the landslide. We talked to Ronald Danon, who was a hydrologist, Tom Morfitt, a previous newspaper writer and community member of Haines, the mayor of Haines, Captain White from the Coast Guard, Kate Mickelson, and many other people. With these conversations, we took notes and really just tried to listen to what they had to say. After that, now we can use our brains a little bit, categorizing the problems that were voiced through many of our interviews. Our categories were prevention projects, disaster response, restoration, predictive projects, and citizen response. We made sure to bring any issue to light. Then we put a little sticker above the issues that we believe as students could actually impact and resolve, something we can build or develop. Then we started brainstorming solutions. With this process, any idea is a good idea. You don't throw out something because it's not reasonable or logical, because that might spark your very next idea. It was a bit challenging to stay open-minded, as I usually like to think reasonably, but now wasn't the time for that. We used post-it notes to write down these ideas, and then we try to put an illustration next to it as well to help visualize it. Now this is where it starts to get exciting. I looked at several issues regarding calculating how disastrous a landslide may be, a need for a bigger database to predict a landslide, and how baselines are shifting what is considered normal nowadays. So I designed a prototype of a rainfall gauge that the community could build easily in their backyards. This will help create data for the community as well as bring awareness towards potential hazards or changing weather. I presented this idea to some lovely people to help gain some feedback before I dive further into my prototype. After creating a second design, the last step is to test. This is also where sometimes things can change. I started with the water level sensor and Arduino camera, but then I ended up using an ultrasonic sensor that did both. The rain gauge wasn't working well with the sensor, so we tried cutting out material that would float on top to help make better readings. The favorite part was hunting for the perfect flexible tube that could be used for the water to flow in. And we ended up using a straw from an abandoned UAF water bottle. Trying new things and letting your brain go after one idea after another without endless possibilities was something I had to teach my brain to do, but it was an awesome experience. After that, we went back to our rain gauge, but we accidentally broke it. So we 3D printed a squared container, hoping that would actually read the sensor better. We 3D printed a top that would latch onto it, and the sensor is attached to the top. And this is what we came up with. My biggest challenge was, even though the sensor shows a general decline in values as the water levels get closer to the sensor, it sometimes can have bad readings. I ended up spending all my time figuring this out, so I didn't finish the rest of my design that I planned out to do. In the future, we could have used a different ultrasonic sensor or go down another pathway of detection, but sometimes it's like that and it's okay. I tested it a lot more afterwards by putting water in, looking at values, putting more water in, and doing that basically back and forth, changing little things in hope for more accuracy. I had to really learn to be more positive with myself in this process because I didn't get what I expected to get. We expect things to go exactly like we plan, and we can get down sometimes when it doesn't. Letting yourself know that creating and building is messy and allowing the process to go in different directions helps. In conclusion, thank you for listening to my story. I had a super fun time building without limits in the Makerspace, and while the adventure ends this semester, there are plenty of more to come.